Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Runers. So, we are going to be playing as a human ranger with Chaos Bolt. Yes, I know Chaos Bolt, as usual, it's probably the best starter spell available. And, I mean, realistically, I feel like I should be using them for variety, but they really don't set the tone for the build 90% of the time. So, I guess the only thing that I could potentially do that I haven't done yet, but I would probably do anyway, would be the Mind Rune run, because that is tempting. But anyway, as it stands today, we are going with a... Okay, I want to check something. Ah, nuts. Okay, so we're playing as a human, which increases all of our stats by 5%, or decreases them if they're that kind of thing. So if it's a cooldown specifically, reduces it by 5%. So ideally, what I'd like to do is a cooldown reduction run. I was really hoping you would give me a 5% crit chance, but that would be too good to be true. So, that's not how it works. Anyway, this is a lot of bats. I might as well do this now, even though it's probably kind of... Wow, this has become pointless. That feels like a much longer than 5-second cooldown to me. Or charge up. Well, anyway, it's got a fairly short cooldown, so at the very least, it's still pretty solid. Holy crap, that's a lot of runes for just the first room. Anyway, one thing that I've been commenting on for ages, I've never been able to figure out, is why, what hermits do. Well, the answer is, apparently, hermits do a buff to all rats in the area. And I'm actually really surprised I never figured that out. I always just figured it was just some kind of weird pack rat type deal, and I don't even know. So yeah, thanks to Ace Exultra, I think that's how it's pronounced. I mean, don't trust me for pronunciation. But yeah, thanks for that tip, because I'm not actually sure if I ever would have figured that one out, if only because I am, especially in the thick of things, not exactly the most observant of people. I try, but... especially in this game, there's a lot to pay attention to, and it's very easy to lose track of everything. So, thus far we have managed to collect an insane amount of shock runes. Not much else. Which begs kind of the question, what do I want to do with this build? Cause... I mean, at this point, I could already make a silly amount of triples just based on what we have available to us. And I'm trying to decide... would it be worthwhile? Well, I mean, have I ever even made triple shock? Like, is that a spell I've made in the past? I have no idea. So actually, we're going to take a second here to quickly check out creatable spells discovered. What triples do we got already? So we could make strike... Oh. Okay. Back. So we could do Striker. I'm trying to decide if this is what I want to do. Because what we would do for this build is Striker, Striker, and then the Fire, Water, Shock, I believe. Because the double Strikers would be very good for long range. And then the Fire, Water, Shock would be... also great for long range, do more damage but attack slower. It's really tempting. Because I said I was considering doing that build. So you know what? Why don't we go that direction today, see if I can do it. Especially because I got this spell last round and pretty much never used it. So, let's adjust our headphones, because for whatever reason I find in life that I only wear my headphones on like one side of my head. And usually, maybe they're a bit longer than usual? I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm just noticing my headphones are uncomfortable for no good reason. Unless I have them on backwards. Come to think of it. That'd be embarrassing. Nope. I don't. No idea what's going on then. Oh well, guess maybe it's just my hair is getting a bit long and everything is starting to bother me. But anyway, what I'm going to try and do for this run is be as long range as possible. So what we're probably going to do is go back and use that buff that we got the last time that made it so we shoot crazy fast and everything like that, because that would make, I mean, that would obviously make the long range spell, which the name I'm actually forgetting pretty quickly, but between that and that and Striker, we should be able to just fire off crazy amounts of damage really fast. Now, I could buff up Striker, and I'm very tempted to do this. Oh, right. I should probably turn on Chaos Bolt. It's actually got a decent range, but with luck, I could have all 4 of those spells going off pretty much constantly, especially because they have longer-ish cooldowns, I think. And then anybody at any level of distance from me would essentially get nuked. The only problem is it is very heavily dependent on shock runes, and, I mean, luckily we've got 3 still left. And I'm very tempted to actually buff up Striker for the time being, at least with 1 or 2 of them. And it's a consideration. Mainly, I'm hoping I can get a water rune along the way, because I guess I'm just holding out for the end of this floor, because we're going to be fine for at least a little while, and it's one of those where it's like, if I could ideally get double Striker and 1 level of those range spells, then we'd probably be in a better position for, you know, doing the event room and stuff like that. Because as much as I like Chaos Bolt, it's not exactly the best spell. It's solid, though. Like, for the amount of projectiles it shoots out, it's a really good spell. Oh, that's a really long path from one level of, or one side of the door to the other. I'm actually going to hang out over here and use our arrow spam if I can. There we go. To try and clear out everything. Beautiful. Yeah, so the other thing is I went with the arrow spam largely because I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head as far as like starters that'd be great. I was tempted to go with Bard as a group stun / like get away from enemies type move, but at the same time I can use this, yeah, especially if we have a large group of enemies advancing towards us, to try and clear the ranks pretty quick. I don't know. I also just wanted to try Ranger again in a scenario where I actually use the ability frequently enough. And if we can actually manage to get some level of cooldown reduction on the class ability, we might actually just be able to do... Ooh, hey, there we go. So, number 1. Let's see. All of these are kind of worthless, except for Lucky. Let's go with Lucky. The thing with Lucky is I have no real confirmation on whether or not it actually has much of an effect. Okay, so first and foremost, let's do... Wow, yeah, we can do all 3 of them. So we get Traveler. I believe it's Traveler. I hope it's Traveler. Okay, so... I think it is. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we get Traveler, and we actually have enough runes left over for a Striker. So, we've already got half of our build built, which to me is kind of nuts. I was not expecting this. I'm hoping that I'm still going... Oh, okay, the one problem with Striker is it can't bust up Destructibles, which is actually a serious problem, but isn't that big of one. And okay, so let's go off and do the event room, because there's nothing else left on this floor for us to deal with. What I'm going to do is actually switch off one of the Strikers for Chaos Bolt, just so I can have Chaos Bolt firing at maximum speed, because right now it's our best room clearing spell. And, I mean, there is some amount of consideration of I could just actually have... keep something like Chaos Bolt as my close range spell. I don't know. I'll think about it. I have time. So, realistically, I can fire off the bumpers as much as I want and do a fair amount of damage. I do have to worry about the one bumper not being good enough. But let's hope our arrow spam gets here fast enough. There we go. Come on, arrow spam. Actually do useful things. Don't just miss all the time. Oh, well, it doesn't matter that much. So, we could do crit chance, defense. Let's go with crit chance. Because I very much would like to have high crit, too. Because ideally, it's going to give us extra shots off on all of the enemies. I don't know. Really does depend. I was kind of hoping it would give us +5. Okay. I'm going to go with defense. It's not much, but at the same time, we want to buff up all of our passive stats, especially because we already have a bonus 5%. So in this case, we actually receive 10% less damage as a result of, you know, the spells or not the spells, but the human setup. So if I could actually continue to push defense pickups whenever I get them, that'd be nice. Anyway, it's memory time. And this one's always a concern for me. Now, I could actually go back and cheat and use my video to memorize them completely. So first and foremost, let's turn off our autocast, because they're distracting. And next, turn off the map. So, bottom, top right. Okay. Oh, wow. If I mess this up, it's going to be hideously embarrassing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seriously. Okay. And more crit chance. And all of these are kind of worthless. I could do this one. 10% chance taking any damage to increase your armor by 10%. But that's not very good. I'd rather go with Holy Crusader because that gives us damage zones to slow down enemies, which would be very convenient. And what I mean by slow down enemies, what I really mean is simply it will, you know, hit enemies from a distance. Okay, this is probably a good time for arrow spam. It's going to take me a little... Oh, wait, I don't want to turn off my autocast. Yeah, great time for the class spell. Very good way of taking out groups of rats. So, at the very least... Oh, right. Hermits, of course. Take out the hermits before going after the rats, if you can. Oh, well, it really doesn't actually matter that much. So... we need cooldown reduction. If I could get Grizzly Interlocked, that would put us in a very good spot. If I can't, we'll be fine. I mean, Traveler is not a bad spell, even on its own, but if you miss, it really does kind of run into some obnoxious setups. But yeah, those dark zones, or those damage zones, are going to be really convenient, especially if I can take out, like, a demon, or whatever in front of a group of people. Because they'll all run into it first and foremost, and then I won't have to worry about as much. So, the one problem is, I do have to run away from groups of enemies with this build, because it is kind of susceptible to that sort of thing. It's kind of susceptible to, I don't know, scary stuff. Oh, need to stomp on the skeletons. Otherwise, me killing them is pointless. So, our crit chance is already 4%. That's actually really solid, because, well... I mean, if we can get it up to 10%, that'd be great, especially with how much Striker attacks. It doesn't do as much damage right now, but if we're lucky, we'll be able to boost up our shock levels passively, and if we're not lucky, oh well. Now, in retrospect, I might have almost said it would have been better to do this run as a... Oh, probably should take out the Hermit. Oh well. Might have been better to actually take on this run... Is that Doctor? No, it's Impromptu Armor. Dang. Okay, so, this is tempting, but a 5% slow really doesn't matter that much. Now, we could do this one, and it's, again, tempting, but we're not using that much for long cooldown stuff, so I'm actually going to go with Banshee Wail, just because anytime we need to use our class ability is usually a good time, or is usually a time that we're surrounded and need to get away. So, Knockback could be useful. Then again, I don't actually remember if the Knockback is even remotely substantial enough for it to make a difference. Now, we are getting incredibly lucky here with health packs, which is nice, because that means, well, let's charge this up, yeah. Might not have even been remotely necessary. Oh well, let's just let the arrow spam speak for us here. Okay, so yeah, we're getting crazy amounts of hearts, which is actually really nice. It means we're going to be leaving this floor full health. It's just one of those where it's like, I would much rather all of these hearts drop on lower levels. Maybe that's what the luck boost does. It, like, boosts our drop rate for various things. That actually makes a lot of sense. Huh. Alright, so I think in the future I'm going to try and do a run that involves getting the luck perk as much and as often as possible. Now, we got a lot of skeletons here, and I'm trying to keep my distance, but this is a very enclosed level, and there's not a whole lot of room to maneuver. At least we got the holy zones, which makes everything easier. And we got a lot of health. But the main weakness for this build is anything that gets close to you is generally going to mess your day up. And we can't go with double lightning, just because we need those shock runes for everything else. So, I might have to do some amount of restructuring for this build. I'm trying to think of what else would be good. I mean, we could go with the simple Dark Wind as another long-range spell, which is very tempting, sheerly because it is a very solid spell. Doesn't look like we got any hermits, which is nice, but we do have a bunch of rat nest, which is not appreciated. But I think once we get a little bit further into this build, we'll be doing okay. Okay, so next up, we got entropy, a lot of dark, a lot of light, none of which is particularly necessary. I'm going to put that into Traveler. These guys need air. Okay, so let's do dark, dark. Actually, have I ever done dark, entropy, light? Because I might as well do the ones, yep, Sinister Bonds. Which, oh, I don't remember that spell. Whatever, doesn't matter that much. So let's do dark, light, dark, just because I use entropy runes a lot. All right, gotta make the triple first. Spirit Sorcerer. Summons a sorcerer from the spirit realm that shoots corruption magic missile growing demise for a short time. Sorcerer distracts enemies and will die if hit. Alright. It's got a shortish duration, but you could probably reduce the cooldown. I think the only problem with him is potentially going to be... Let me guess, is he direct targeting? Yeah. So I can see him being really interesting for like a summoner-ish build. Okay, I'm going to keep him on just for a little bit. Let's let the cooldown refresh, because I want to see how he does in combat. Because he could actually be very useful, especially later on in like a specific area. Oh, shoot. I forgot. I had everything in, I have it on autocast. Well, that kind of invalidates everything. Oh, well, we got arrow spam. It's just kind of needed that. Well, this is what I get for not paying attention. Well, let's summon him there and see what he does. So the answer is, he's kind of pitiful. He's got great aim, which is nice, because I don't. But at the same time, really not that great of a spell. Let's grab all the health and hide him away forever, because he's an embarrassment to the family name. And by family name, I mostly just mean I don't feel like using him right now. And I can see some merits to having him on the bar. A summoner build would be really interesting, but currently, the way summons work in this game, they have very little health, don't do much damage, have longer cooldowns than their duration, and you end up just kind of, I don't know, you just kind of end up having a bunch of like subpar creatures that possibly get you killed, just as a result of how they work, and to me, that is not exactly the most encouraging of spells. So now, at the very least, we've got some very solid spells going on. And we can pretty much take out anybody at a range as long as I stay away from them. Entropic Teleport is tempting, just to get us away from combat, but at the same time, what we want most is whatever that, like, super speed spell we had previously. It doesn't look like there's anything else on this floor, and we're not injured. So let's go down. So we can do dark levels, water levels, extra HP. Well, considering we don't currently have any dark runes on our build. Okay, let's just go with the max HP. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Okay, and of course we have loads and loads of boxes for us to crunch through. Now, I guess I could have gone with the water levels, because that would technically... What is this spell even called? Traveler. Because you could definitely boost up the damage of Traveler, but at the same time, currently we're looking for something a little bit more than a damage boost for our infrequent cast spell. And I will admit, I would actually trade off a somewhat large amount of damage on Traveler in favor of the spell actually casting fairly quickly. But mostly I'm just hoping that we can get our hands on Grizzly Intellect here, because if we can get that, we'll be in a really good spot. If we can't, well, we'll still be in a decent spot, but we're going to be casting Traveler fairly infrequently, and, I mean, since, like, if Traveler and Striker were actually switched a little bit so that Striker did more damage, but Traveler had the whole, you know, it's a cloud that actually passes by enemies, that could actually be really effective. Oh, Bandit in the corner, taking shots at me. That's not appreciated. But I do have to say, I like doing a build for once where it's not imperative that I charge directly at my enemies, which is nice. And we can do High Roller, not very good. Latent Force knocks back enemies that touch us. Nope. 10% damage, chance to randomly teleport. That's bad. And Dodge. So let's go with Latent Force. We don't want people touching us anyway. We are... Oh, shoot. I forget what the specific phobia is called. But we are... Whatever phobia it is that doesn't like to be touched by people. There's pretty much nothing we could do about getting stuck in that group. I'm trying to stay at least remotely in range so I can use my... Yep, there we go. So, at the very least, we got a lot of clearing force. I'm hoping that we can get a lot of shock runes along the way. Really, if I could get the plus 10% rune drop chance, that would be really nice. And if I could continue that with, you know, more of like get that up to 20 or 30%. That would be really nice. But at the same time, we have generally more important things to worry about than that. So we've got a lot of knights. They're actually not very scary when you don't have to get close to them. The last couple builds have all been such close range. Now, not so much so. So we do get a light rune, or not a light rune, an air rune. So we could put that into one of our strikers. But what we need if we want to get another traveler is shock. We need so many shock runes, it's not even remotely funny. Let's just wail on him a little bit. Wow, Traveler does crazy damage. It did 17 and it was only like a quarter of the screen away. So I'm really hoping that we can get double Traveler and actually get their range to be insane. That said, I don't know. Doesn't matter that much. Sorry that I've been coughing. It's one of those where I try not to cough or sneeze or whatever on camera. But it's one of those where it's like right now I've got a really dry throat. Come to think of it, I'm sitting directly next to a water bottle. So there's really no excuse for why I haven't taken a drink yet. Guess I'll clear out this room and solve that problem. So, luckily it's just bandits and stuff. Hey, another air rune. So, one nice thing about strikers, you can actually increase the size of those lightning clads. Still can't increase the damage because we don't have any shock, but hey, whatever. We also get a bunch of water and... ooh. Yeah, water and fire runes. So we might as well buff up this spell as much as we can, because, hey, if one of the travelers is good, one of the travelers is good. Then again, I'm actually... okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not actually going to get a second traveler. We're just going to have one. And then what we're going to do is get rid of Chaos Bolt for the time being, because I know we have enough for Dark Wind. Okay, so it's air, dark, and... oh, shoot. It's... oh, boy. Well, I screwed that one up a little bit. I needed one of those waters. Well, back to the sort of drawing board. I guess I could try and make a triple with something I have. Oh. Well. Okay, I know what we're doing. This is dumb, but we're doing it anyway. So, we're just going to have Prismatic Devil as one of our base combos. Because at the very least, what this is going to do is make it so anything that gets close to us gets walloped hard. And this way we save enough runes to pile all of them into Striker and stuff. Even though they really don't need it that much. Oh, shock runes reduce the cooldown on Striker. I forgot about that. Oh, that is better than I thought. Oh well, and we can pile all the entropy runes into Prismatic Devil. And let's just keep going, because... oh right, I was going to take a drink of water. Oh well, oh right, I also have spells and stuff. Okay, so at the very least, now we don't have to worry about anybody getting close to us, so I can actually kind of hang out here. And the nice thing about Prismatic Devil, it, well, it buffs us occasionally, but frequently enough that it probably should actually solve a lot of our problems. Yeah, this is probably a good idea. And we get another Earth Rune and a Light Rune. Not much I can use it for. I'm not doing Lights Nova. I use that spell way too often. You know, while I was taking that drink, I was kind of watching my stats screen just for a little bit. It's actually interesting just how much Prismatic Devil makes an effect. I mean, really, it's only like 3 to 4%. But even then, that's fairly substantial. So, for like a 3 to 4% damage boost on a lot of things, well, I mean, but that's also like cooldown reduction and movement speed, and especially as you get that like higher on, that could be really, really strong. Okay, so we're kind of in a nice position here-ish. Oh, shoot. Where... come on. Where we can snipe the Wisp Hunter while we get these wisps in. That is false. We can't do that very well at all. I guess I'm going to have to wrangle the wisps and let Prismatic Devil do my dirty work for me. It works pretty much. We need 2 more. Let's wallop into this guy, get him into the damage zone. Don't think that actually hurts enemies. All I need is 1 more. There we go. Okay, so we can do crit chance or defense. Ooh, this is... This is an interesting question, because crit chance, we've already got 4%. Getting that up to 6% would be really nice. But I'm going to go with defense, just because. Farsight's cool. Excess energy is really tempting. Yeah, let's go with excess energy, because that means every time we cast a spell, we potentially fire off another shot. And the one thing we lack is in... not firepower so much as just clearing potential-ish. Because we've got 3 very solid contenders for auto attacks. But what we don't have... Hey, it's Droploid. Oh, that makes this easy. Let's see if I can hit him from here. Nope. He actually avoided it. Whatever, not that big of a deal. But what we don't have is just kind of the particle spray effect that we usually have. Because as much as I like Prismatic Devil, it's only useful at very close ranges, which is perfect for what we need right now. But at the same time, we want things that are, we want to be able to hit a bunch of enemies. Oh, I timed that nigh on perfectly. This is a lot of junk, though. It kind of hurts. Let's take out the Droploids. I mean, at this point, I'm just... I have to get close to this guy. But that's okay. We have at least 1 other health thing, and we're going to get 2 for this one. So we get that. So we could reduce our class ability. I think that's the only one that's worth even going for here. Hey, works for me. I don't want to go in those rings, though. They're concerning. Really? He only dropped 1 health pickup for once. That's strange. That's very uncommon. Okay, next up. Have I ever done Triple Earth? I think I've done it. Yeah, Gaia's Protection. That creates the 3 defensive-ish orbs around us, which is cool, but not very great. So in that case, we're going to do Double Earth Light? Why not? Carapace. Prevents biting and gives an armor buff. Not much of an armor buff, though. You could reduce the cooldown. Huh. Huh. Well, why not? It's not much of a spell, but I'll use it. And every Earth rune gets it up by 2%. So if you could get up to a 25% armor buff, but I guess that increases... Okay, so as soon as that's off cooldown, let's see how much it reduces our damage received by. It's about 5%. That's not very good. It could be a lot better. Which, in the end, oh well. You know, beggars can't be choosers. But it does make it a... What the... Oh, there is actually a second heart here. Oh, that's convenient, because that means we get to go down onto level 4, full health, which is a little bit worried about. So, yeah, that armor buff. Oh, I was thinking, it's like, hey, that armor buff could be really useful, especially if we're going on to, you know, or if we're doing a melee run. But when it comes down to it, it's not enough of a damage reduction, so it's not really that useful for a melee run. Anyway, let's go down to floor. What do we get? Fire levels, entropy rune, bullet speed. Wow, these are kind of pitiful. I could do fire levels and it would boost up traveler damage a little bit. But let's go with bullet speed. Just because we do fire off a lot of bullets, and the faster they go, the better off we're going to be. Because less likely they're going to miss. Which is good. And also, if I can get Prismatic Devil spinning like crazy, that means nothing can get through our gaps. I'm hoping I can get our cooldown reduction. I haven't seen a shock rune in a while, which, go figure, we got 5 very early on. But I'd love to at least get, you know, more shock levels. And I think if I ever do this run again, I'm probably going to do it again with the elf. If only because the elf would give us, you know, +2 to all rune levels. Which would benefit Traveler especially. Jeez. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next part of this run, where we will try our luck with long range and stuff. I don't know.